First things first, Alan, how are you?
Good. Yeah. Um, I had to fly recently, so I haven't slept very well, but sometimes that's good. Wakes
What?
you up a little bit. Yeah, it's good. It's kind of, yeah, I think sometimes, I don't know, not that I'm necessarily writing or trying to be creative or anything like that right now, but I notice sometimes when if with a little bit of sleep deprivation, I think you end up being more creative. Sometimes when I'm writing, I feel like the line between dreaming and reality gets a little more blurred when you've sort of lost, sort of when you're not sleeping as much. Whereas if you have too much sleep, I think all the creativity ends in sort of the randomness and sort of the things that your brain sort of is conduit for ends up sort of happening more when you're sleeping.
Would you or have you in the past then kind of deprived yourself from a bit of sleep to enter that state?
Not not super intentionally, but I do know, like, yeah, I'm sort of constantly on the edge of not getting up enough sleep. It's mostly because of just staying up, and I don't go to bed very early. But every once in a while there'll be a phase where I do get maybe 8 or 9 hours of sleep at night for a while, and I notice that it becomes a lot more distinguishable between light and dark. Not as much gray area.
Do you notice the songs that you are writing change if you had a full nights of sleep
Um,
in comparison to if you only had a couple hours or something? Do you notice a difference when you look back at it a week after?
no, no. I just know that I just notice that it seems to flow more when you're sort of a little bit exhausted, which I sort of am all the time anyway. Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a necessary thing then for you, or?
I think I don't know. It's okay that it happens. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I think forcing yourself to not sleep. I think that might be a little bit too intentional. But no, I guess I've never thought to do that. But I don't know.
Okay.
That would be weird.
Well, what I wanted to start with is you are from Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Famously, it's where Bob Dylan was born.
Yeah.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you still live there, you're still based there?
Yeah. Yeah. We lived there. We grew up. Mimi and I grew up on farms, sort of a few hours away in the countryside, and we moved there for college, and just always lived there.
And well, obviously the music scene has changed a lot since the 50s and 60s, but
Sure.
what kept you there? What made Duluth a nice place to settle and do music?
Um, I don't know. I think when we first started, I remember when we first started, there was sort of the question of, well, should we move to a bigger city? Maybe there'll be more opportunities for music and things like that. But I don't know. We were kind of early on. We were able to tour all around right away, so it just never seemed like it was really necessary. We were used to that city, and we had family there and good friends. I mean, there's kind of a small music scene there with friends and people doing different things, and it's small enough that sort of the whole arts and music community kind of participates. There's not necessarily factions.
Right.
It's just a good environment. Sometimes it feels a little small town because there's a lot more interesting things going on in bigger cities, but I don't know. It suits me. I mean, again, we grew up on farms, so it was sort of enough of a shock when I was younger to move to a town of 100,000.
Right.
And even after we've traveled, I don't know. There's nice places, and we get to travel around, and sometimes we'll stay in some places for a while and visit. But I don't know. Home is home.
And well, you mentioned the music scene there, that there is somewhat of a music scene. Does that scene inspire you in the music that you write and have written in the past?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm able to play music with different friends, and there's opportunities to kind of experiment and try different things. I think the sense of having friends that you trust and you can try things even if you fall on your face. You know, you sort of it's kind of part of the process and yeah, different friends in town and influence. I think more I think being able, I don't know, there's something about it. It's isolated. It's kind of in a region it's a little bit on the edge of where everything else is, you know, and kind of out a ways, sort of where it's kind of the edge of where things kind of are nothing anymore. There's no, then it's just the Arctic, you know, and northern Canada. But
Is that then where most of the writing happens, in Duluth, or can
Yeah.
it happen everywhere?
mostly at home, yeah. Usually at night in the basement of the house.
Okay.
You know, it's yeah, the winter sometimes kind of, you know, yeah, I like, the summers are nice, but the winters are really harsh, and there's something about that dynamic, I think, that I don't know, it's nice to have seasons, and I think the seasons affect your creativity, you know. It's not so much productive or not productive as much it's just different tone. You're kind of always changing scenes a little bit, and no matter what you're going through, there's sort of a liquidity and variation and back and forth that sort of, I think, can be healthy and kind of moves you forward and kind of is enough movement to sort of get everything else to ride on it.
And if you take now the new record, Ones and Sixes, what was a song that kind of, what was one of the initial songs that was born out of what you just mentioned? And
No Comprende was one of the first, it's the second song on the record, but it was one of the first songs we'd written where it sort of dawned on me, or it's sort of really obvious, like this is the direction we're going, and this was sort of the point. It pointed. It was the light kind of pointing where the new record was going, and it was nice because once you sort of discover that, a lot of times that can be the inspiration to kind of finish the rest of the songs, and kind of gives you a little bit of a direction. It also helped us figure out who to work with and how, you know, what kind of recording we wanted to make, and yeah, for sure that song, No Comprende, was sort of the beginning.
what made that song so important? Was it in terms of sound or in terms of a theme, or?
Well, there's a tension and dissonance to it, I think, that's something I really like, you know. There's, you know, you kind of, you know, there's a really nice tension there, and sort of towards the end of the song it shifts rhythmically, and it kind of reaches really deep and kind of opens up, and kind of it's almost violent, you know. And I guess that was exciting to me, because I think that's true to, I think, what I feel and what sort of life has been for the last while. So.